Hi, everyone. I am here with Nick, who is the director of lead at George Mason. Nick, how are you doing today?
Great. Thanks, Cruz. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. So, with the upcoming election, the lead office is playing an important role, and we just want to introduce the office to our viewers. So, for those who may be unfamiliar with it, what exactly is the lead office and what is their primary mission?
Sure. So, our overall vision is more effective ethical leaders for the world. And we do that through a series of workshops, conferences, retreats, different ways of recognizing leaders. But we don't just think of leadership in terms of a positional only way. And the quickest way we get to that is, think for yourself, how many of you have been part of a group or organization where the members showed better leadership than the person in the position of power? So we kind of think usually a lot of people raise their hand for that one. So we think leadership is not just about a position of power, although that's really important. And a really big part of what we do is trying to have leadership for positive change. So when we think of like, well, what counts as positive change, we have to talk about like ethics. And some people define leadership as, well, they would say a leader would be somebody, anybody who has great influence, like a terrible dictator. But for us, you can also think some people wouldn't say it's about a terrible dictator. That's not leadership, that's dictatorship. But we kind of think no matter how you define leadership, we have to be talking about leadership for positive change, or else our offices be kind of contributing to creating the next terrible dictator. So
That's really great. So for you, leadership is probably one of the most important skills a student can learn. But so how can students use these skills, not just in their leader roles, but also in their lives?
Sure. I mean, the three main parts that we talk about when we talk about leadership development, sort of a general framework, something called a social change model of leadership. But if you think of a V, you start at the beginning with yourself, kind of self understanding is super important, then branching out to learning about others and groups, and then even broader to society as a whole. So, all the stuff that we do in the lead office is helping people kind of understand all those different levels self, others, and society. And we think leadership is important no matter what you go into. Any field, anything, it's about collaboration, teamwork, those type of things. So no matter what you're going to go into, it's really essential to learn about leadership. As I mentioned earlier, it's not just about a position. So we think it's really important to learn about it for all aspects of life and relating to others.
Mhm. And now looking specifically right now at the current election, I've saw that the lead office is going to be hosting several activities and events based around it. Would you mind talking about some of those?
Sure, no problem. Yeah, so two of the things that we're kind of collaborating with a whole bunch of different offices on. So we don't want to take credit for it ourselves, but it's sort of like a great collaboration, which is really important in leadership. Is we have two post-election discussions. So one is on November 5th and one is on November 9th. So this coming Thursday, November 5th, and then Monday, November 9th. And the focus of those, it's not really going to be getting into like breaking down exactly what's happening in terms of like we're going to educate about the electoral college or something like that, but it's really about having people have an opportunity to react, process what's going on, share in community with other people their reactions, no matter what your reactions are, happy, sad, unsure, don't know what's going on, all that kind of stuff. It's really just an opportunity to have discussion and learn from each other. So I think that'll be a really cool opportunity. We also have something a little bit later on. It's November 17th, I believe. Yeah, November 17th, where we're going to have something called Right, Wrong, or Different. Each semester we have a program called Right, Wrong, or Different. This one is going to be focused on public trust. So we think there's so much going on these days about people feeling like there's a breakdown in trust in society. Kind of same thing before, no matter how you believe politically, I think there's a lot of interesting research showing that trust is kind of going down in our society. And we're going to be having this program with Professor Stephen Pearlstein, who's a Pulitzer Prize winning columnist. And it's going to be a discussion where we purposely bring together international and domestic students to talk about what does public trust look like in other countries and the US, and what does that mean for what happens in society when trust is high? What does that mean? And when trust is low, what does that mean in society?
Yeah, that's really great. Obviously, in the last couple months, and even before that, public trust is definitely a big issue, and it can be a challenge for a lot of people. So that's really good. Now, looking at the lead office in a little bit more of a broad sense, are there any future events or anything that people should be looking out for? Maybe that's past the election.
Sure, definitely. So we have something coming up. You'll probably actually get an email about it. Everyone will probably get an email about it coming up pretty soon. There's something called the Freedom and Learning Forum, which is something that we co-sponsor also with a bunch of different offices, where it's sort of discussions, panels, that kind of stuff, typically with the president's office. And President Washington, our new president, is going to be involved with this one, and the provost and a bunch of other folks who are involved on some task force about anti-racism and inclusion. And so it's a Freedom and Learning Forum called Racial Justice and Inclusion. That's going to be November 16th from 4 till 5 p.m. So that'll be a great opportunity. We just kind of finished up a leadership conference that we had, but in terms of other upcoming things, we have the spring semester, a lot of opportunities to get involved. Emerging Leaders Program, which is an 8-week, it's basically like one session, one workshop each week for 8 weeks. So people who want a little bit more in-depth leadership experience, we have that. We have Alumni Leadership Speaker Series, where we bring back recent alumni to talk about their leadership experiences so current students can learn from them. We also have Leadership Connection Hours, which we pick a different topic each time. And particularly these days, we thought it's really important to have people have more opportunities to connect with each other, because there's some, isolation going on with COVID-19 and everything like that. So we have a variety of those coming up. And then we also have a leadership summit that's going to be coming up, where we kind of change what the topic is each year. In the past, we've had it for first generation students. This year, we'll probably have it around students who are 25 years old and older, and also for students who are parents. We kind of do different populations for that, but really a lot of opportunities to kind of get involved. And we have a lot of service opportunities also.
Great. Those sound like some really good opportunities for students. And if any students are interested in checking these out or participating, what would be the best way for them to get involved?
Sure. The best way, just looking at our website, lead.gmu.edu is a really good way. And I'm happy for people, if you just want to reach out to me individually too. My email is nlennon, N-L-E-N-N-O-N @gmu.edu, and can point you to some other opportunities. But really the website's probably the best way we keep that updated. So that's the best way right now.
Great. And then finally, I just wanted to see if you had any last thoughts or comments that you'd like to leave any of our viewers with.
Sure. I think one of the big driving factors for our office is helping more people to see themselves as empowered as leaders and doing it for positive change. So I think if you hear the word leadership and you think, oh, maybe that's not for me because I'm not the head of an organization or something like that, really our office is doing things for every single student at Mason, and not just students, also faculty and staff. So we really want to be very inclusive with how we're talking about leadership. It's not just a positional only thing. And then also the focus that we talk about positive change, because sometimes people can talk about leadership and it's just like, okay, whoever has a lot of influence, and we're really trying to do things. And I think it kind of matches, what's going on in society. We need more and more opportunities for people to kind of come together across differences and have some kind of unity. Even if we disagree strongly about a lot of things, how can we kind of move forward and think what will create positive change, not just for ourselves, but for society more broadly?
I couldn't agree with you more. If there is a time where we all need to come together, this is it. And I'm so glad that there is opportunities on campus for students to come to figure out how exactly to do that. Thank you for joining us today. And if anyone out there is interested in participating in any of the LEAD activities or events, go and check out their website. And if you're interested in talking about the selection after the fact, you can join in one of those two discussions. Once again, Nick, thank you for joining us today.